Hi everyone, welcome to this video on how to create an end-to-end strategy by using MetaTrader Python API. If you want to access the code used in this video, just go to our website, which is fesapro.com. Click on chat with us. It will redirect you to our WhatsApp chat and you can just ask us for the code used in this video for free. Let's try to understand the strategy first. So to explain you the strategy, I'm on TradingView website. So I've selected the instrument Euro USD. I've added two indicators, one is Supertrend and one is double EMA. So the ATR for Supertrend is 12 and the multiplier is 3. And for DEMA, the input length is 200. So you can see two indicator. One is this black indicator, which is DEMA, and one is this green and red indicator, which is Supertrend. First, I'm going to show you my long entry. Okay, this is my long position. So my long condition is that if my Supertrend is positive and the closing price is above the DEMA, this is when I'm going to go long. So you can see at this candle, which is at around 9:30, the super trend has changed and the closing price is also above DMA. So I'm going to go long here. So the same trade was taken by my system. If I show you my MetaTrader history, so at around 9:30 Euro USD, I'm going long, which is buy. Okay. Now the buy position continued for 1 day. Now this is a positional strategy. We will either go or long for more than 1 day. And the position was closed at around this candle. We can see here the closing price is breaching my DEMA, which is my closing condition. Now, if I look at the time, so the time at which this position was closed was at around 10:18. So at around 10:18 or 10:15, you can see at around here, the closing price is going below the DEMA. So this is my closing condition. Now this was a long trade, which happened on Euro USD. Now I'll show you one short trade too. So a short trade was taken on USD CAD. So I have another short trade here. You can see this is USD CAD and the sell trade was taken at around 10:58. So if I look at this candle, just notice this candle, which is this candle, which is 10:45. So at around 10 between 10:45 to 11, this trade was taken. So you can say this trade was taken at this candle. Now you might ask, so first let me explain you what is my short condition. My short condition is that the closing price should be below the DEMA and the super trend should be negative. This is my short condition. Now the short condition is also getting satisfied here, but the trade was not taken here. Why? Because I already had a long position. So my strategy, my algo will either go long or short. Okay, if I already have a long position, once I close my long position, only then I'll go short. So that's the reason that there was no trade taken at this candle. It waited till this candle. At this candle, my closing condition was satisfied. So I closed the position, and at the same candle, my buying condition was also satisfied. So if I show you my trade here, my sell condition, sorry, this was a sell condition. So I sold at around 10:58, but the previous USD CAD trade was closed at around 10:56, which is like 3 minutes before. So within 3 minutes, I had to go short. So that's the reason I have not taken a trade at this candle, because I was already long. So here, if you notice, my super trend was negative, plus the closing price was also below the DMA. So this is where I have shorted my, uh, I've shorted the currency. Now this trade continued till this candle. Now it might have closed the position at this candle too, but it did not. I'll tell you the reason later. But this trade continued till this candle. Now if you notice this candle, the closing price has breached the DEMA, and this is my closing condition. So what is my short condition? The short condition is if my super trend is negative and the closing price is below DMA, I'll short. I'll close the short position if the closing price moves above the DMA or the super trend changes. Okay, so this was my short trade, and you can see USD CAD. I'm selling this USD CAD at around 10:58, and I'm closing it around on the next day. I'm closing this position, which is at around 8:49, and this gave me some profit. Why? Because the market went down. Now remember that this strategy will make money if the market is trending either positive or negative direction. If the market is in sideways, this will make loss. Okay, so this is how the strategy works. Now let's try to understand the code for this. So this is the documentation page. The first thing we have to do is we have to initialize. Okay, so this is my entire code. This is my entire Python code. First, I'm importing all the library. One very important library is MetaTrader 5. Now remember that this library only works in Windows system. You won't be able to install it in a Mac OS system. That is the reason why I'm showing you the code on my Windows server. So once you have installed it, you just have to type pip install MetaTrader. It will install the software. Then the next step is initialize. So we are calling the initialize function. So if you look at the documentation, we have to call this initialize function. This initialize function will make the connection between your Python code and the MetaTrader application. So this is my MetaTrader application. Now make sure that you're logged into your account, either paper trading or live account. You have to log in. Plus your algo trading should be turned on. If this is turned off, then also this initialize function will not work. So two things you have to remember when you're calling the initialize function. First, you're logged into your paper trading or live trading account. Second, your algo trading is turned on. Once we have initialized, the next step is we have to figure out the parameter. Okay, so these are all the parameter which you can change as per your requirement. The first is list of instrument. Right now I'm running this strategy on 5 instrument. So you can change this. Now make sure that now this entire strategy is a trend based strategy. Now, if all the 5 instruments they are correlated to each other, you won't be able to diversify your portfolio. So for that reason, I suggest you that if you're selecting 5 instruments, make sure that all the 5 instruments are uncorrelated to each other. Okay. The next thing is time frame. Now, time frame is one means what? It means my strategy will be executing after every 1 minute. I'll come to this again in a minute. The next thing is time frame. Now, if you remember when I explained you the strategy, the time frame that I have selected was 15 minutes. So I want my strategy to work on 15 minutes. Then the next thing is quantity. Now, in this entire strategy, I'm going with a constant quantity, but you can edit the code and make it more dynamic to, invest the capital that you have. But for this particular example, I'm going with the same quantity for all the 5 instruments, which is 0.1. Then we have a next variable, which is max loss. So what is this max loss? Let's say you have taken a trade. Now this trade can be long or short, and your position is making some loss. Now, if your position makes a loss of $100, in that case, your system will automatically close the position. So that's the reason why we have this variable. You can change this max loss to $50, $20 as per your understanding. I leave it to you. Then we have token and ID. These two variables are needed if you want to send Telegram notification. If you don't want to send Telegram notification, you can leave this blank. Now the next variable is time zone. Now this entire strategy is working on US time zone. So that's why I've written America, New York. If you want to run it on some other time zone, you can change the time zone if you want. The next is strategy name. So I have named the strategy as Supertrend DEMA. Now these two parameter you can ignore for now. It's not that important. Then I'm initializing the logging library. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a log file. The need for this log file is, let's say you're running your strategy and you cannot keep a track. You cannot just look at the strategy the entire day. So once it is running, if something goes wrong while executing the strategy, then you can look at the log file to understand what went wrong. So if I show you, these are some log file that it has created. So you can see whenever it takes the position, it will write the information into the log file. Okay, so this log file will help you to debug your error in case if something goes wrong. So this line of code, which is on line 33, is initializing my log file. After this, I have to check if the instruments that I have selected or the instrument that I have written, if they are correct or incorrect. Because what might happen, one of the instrument that you have written is wrong. So let me show you. Let's say I write here a wrong instrument name like this. So I don't want my strategy to start if my instrument name is wrong. So that's the reason I've written this code, which will go through list of all the instrument and it will check if the instrument name is correct or not. If the instrument name is wrong, it will just stop the code at that point itself. So see, if I run the code, you will see that at this instrument, the strategy will stop. You can see fail to select the symbol USD JPYS. Okay, so this is the first thing you have to do. That is, you have to check if all the instruments that you have added, they are correct. After checking the instrument name, the next thing is we need to calculate indicator. Now, in order to calculate indicator, we need candle historical data. So I've created a function called get historical data. What this function is doing, this function is calling a function called copy rates from position. So if I go to the documentation, they have this section for copy rates from position. Now there are other functions too, but I've selected this function because this function gives me the latest candle data. Okay, so if you call this function will give you the latest candle data plus the historical candle data. I'll show you how the output looks like in a minute. But once I fetch the historical data, the next thing I'm doing is I'm calculating the indicator. Now to calculate the indicator, I have created two functions. One is super trend function and one is DEMA function, because these are the two indicators that I want. So this fetch historical data function will first fetch the candle data. Once we have the candle data, we'll convert it to a data frame and then we'll calculate both the indicator, which is super trend and DEMA. Okay, so here I have a example code where I'm showing you how this function works. So I'm calling the get historical data function. I'm taking the first symbol and I'm just printing the data. Okay, let me just comment the remaining code first. I'll just comment this and let's execute the code. So what will happen for Euro USD? Now my first instrument is Euro USD. See, my first instrument is Euro USD. So it will fetch historical data and the indicator data and it will print it. So you can see this is the Euro USD historical data. So this is my super trend value and this is my DMA value. This is my open high low close value. So this is the function that we will be running every minute. Okay, I'll come to this in a minute, but yeah, this is how this fetch historical data function works, which is using a MetaTrader function called copy rates from position. You can read more about this if you want to know. They have also provided us with some examples. Now, after making sure that we are getting the historical data properly, this is where the main code starts. Okay, so I'll go at the end of the code. So what I've done, I've written a while loop. So what this while loop will do, it will simply run forever. Why running forever? Because in Forex, we don't have a start time and end time. The Forex market is active from Monday to Friday for 24 hours. So that's the reason I don't have any start and end time. I just have written a while loop, which will continue to run for all the days. Even on Saturday, Sunday, this code will run, but it will not take a trade because the market is closed. So this strategy in short, will never stop. It will just keep on running forever. Now, when I'm running this while loop, I've added a sleep. Now, there is no reason for adding the sleep. I've just added the sleep so that I can add a sleep for 1 second. If you want, you can remove this. Then I have two conditions. The first condition is that if my second is equal to 1, if my second is multiple of 5, that is, I'm running this condition every 5 seconds. What is this? This is check PNL close position. So I've created one function called check PNL close position. This function will simply fetch the position and it will check the PNL of each of my position. And if my PNL exceeds the max loss. So you can see if I go inside this check PNL close position function, I'm going through list of all the ticker. I'm fetching the position information. I'm getting the PNL information. And if my PNL is less than the max loss, remember we have made a variable called max loss here, this variable. So I have kept it 100. So if the max loss is greater than 100, so we will directly close the position without looking at anything. Okay. So this is what we are doing inside this check PNL close position. And this is happening every 5 seconds. Then we have another condition where I'm running this main strategy code function every 1 minute. So here I have added a variable called time frame. If I go at the top, my time frame is equal to 1. If you keep this 1, your strategy will run after every 1 minute. If you change this to 5, your strategy will run after every 5 minutes. It's totally up to you. Now this next variable time frame, so this is time frame 1, this is time frame. So this is 15 minute. So here I have written, you can see time frame underscore 15. It means we are going to fetch 15-minute candle data. So both of them are different. This variable represents the frequency of your execution. This variable represents the candle size. Okay. Now after every 1 minute, I'm going to call this main strategy code function. Now let's go inside the main strategy code function. So inside my main strategy code function, what I'm doing, I'm going through list of all the tickers. So right now I have 5 instruments. I'm going to go through all the 5 instruments. I'm going to fetch the historical data for each instrument first. So you can see I'm calling the get historical data function and I'm saving it in histdf variable. Now in histdf variable, I will have the open high low close data, plus I'll also have the indicator data. Everything is ready. Now, before I do anything, I need to fetch the position first. So I have created a function called get open position. What this function will do, get open position, it will fetch the position for the given symbol. Let's say right now we are on Euro USD. So this function will call the position underscore get function. And if the position exists, it will give you some data. It will give you the data about your position. If the position doesn't exist, it will give you empty dictionary. So you can just read about this in the documentation. We have a function called position underscore get. So you just have to specify the symbol. If the position for that symbol exists, it will give you the position. If the position doesn't exist, it will give you the empty data. So once I fetch the position, I will come to know after calling this get open position function if I have the position or not. If I don't have any position, so that is what I've written here. If the position is none, it means I don't have any position. If I don't have any position, then I'll call the check strategy logic function. Now inside my check strategy logic function, I have my buy condition and sell condition. You can see I have the buy condition and I have a sell condition. What is my buy condition? My buy condition is that if my super trend is positive and my DEMA is less than the closing price. This is my buy condition. What is my sell condition? Sell condition is if my super trend is negative and my DEMA is greater than the closing price. Now, if my buy condition is true, I'll go long. If my sell condition is true, I'll go short. Otherwise, I will just print no condition satisfied. So this we are going to do for all the instrument if the position doesn't exist. What if the position is already there? I have already taken long or short for the given instrument. In that case, I have the next condition. Okay, see, the first condition is I don't have any position. In that case, I'll check the strategy logic. If I don't have any position, then it means I have the position. Okay, I have some position. It can be long, it can be short. I don't know. So I'm going to check, do I have long or do I have short? So the first condition is if my position type is buy, it means we are long. If I'm already long, I will check for my sell condition. What is my sell condition? Sell condition is very straightforward, that if my super trend is negative and my DMA is greater than the closing price. This is my sell condition. If this happens, I'll simply call the function close this position. So if I go inside close this position function, this function will simply close the position. Just send the name of the symbol that you want to close and this function will close the position. The code is quite straightforward. We are just placing the opposite order for the trade. Like if we are already long, I'll place the sell order for the given instrument. That's what this function is doing. I'm simply using a function called order sent. So if I go to the documentation, there is a function called order get. No, not order get, order send. So this order send function is used to place the order. Okay, so basically my close this position function will close the position for the given symbol if it exists. If it doesn't exist, it will not do anything. If it exists, it will close the position. Okay, now what if I'm short? So this was for long. See, I'm printing here a portfolio for this ticker is long. If I'm long, I'll check for sell condition. But if I'm already short, it means that my position type is sell. If my position type is sell, in that case, I'll check for my buy condition. If my buy condition is true, I'll again call the same function which will close the position. Okay, so this is what we will do. First step is I'll fetch the position. If I don't have any position, I'll simply check, I'll call the check strategy logic function. If I have the position, I'll check, am I long or am I short? If I'm long, I'll check the sell condition. If the sell condition is true, I'll close the position. If I'm short, I'll check for the buy condition. If my buy condition is true, then I'll close the buy condition. I'll close the short position. So that's what this entire function looks like. Okay, so now let me just go through the remaining function that I have. So there is one function called go long. There is one function called go short. As the name implies, this function will simply take the position. Okay, this function takes two parameters. One is symbol and one is quantity. Right now we are going with the default quantity, which is 0.1, but you can make it more dynamic if you want. So go long function, if you see, it will first fetch the current price and it will place a market order. We are not placing a limit order. We are just placing a market order. So this is how you place a market order. If you want to know more about how to place a market order, you can watch my previous video, or you can just go to the documentation and check the order send function. So if you scroll down, we have some example on how to place a market order. Okay. So my go long function will simply place the market order. It will take long. And my go short function will simply place a sell order. That's what both the function are doing. Now, if I scroll up, one more thing. Now, before I place the order, I have to check if I already have the market order or not. This is very crucial because what happens? Sometime your broker will stop trading for some instrument. Now, if that happens, let's say your strategy condition is satisfied and you're placing the market order. Now, the order never got filled, so you don't have that instrument in your position, but you're continuously placing the market order again and again. So if you don't want that to happen, first, before placing the market order, you just check if you already have the market order or not. If you already have the market order, don't place any market order. If you don't have any market order, then place the market order. So you can see I'm first checking if check market place order. So the function I've created called check market place. So this function will simply check if I have any market order or not. If the market order exists, then it will give me true. If it doesn't exist, it will give me false. So once I make the check, if I don't have any market order, then I will simply place the market order. How to place a market order? You just have to call this order send function. And now inside, if you go inside my check market place function, this function is using get open order function. What get open order function will do? It will take the symbol name and it will give you list of all the orders for that symbol. If you don't have any order, the list will be empty. If you have any order, the list will have some elements. So that's how this get open order function works. So yeah, this is how the entire code looks like. And you can see this code is as minimum as possible. So I have excluded all the complicated stuff from this code so that you can get started with strategy by using Python. Now, one important thing to understand in this code is our time frame one. So here my time frame variable value is 1, which means we are going to run our strategy after 1 minute. Now, what exactly happens after 1 minute? Let me explain you that. So after every 1 minute, we are going to call the fetch historical data function. So let's say you are executing this code at 10. Okay, so it will fetch the historical data. It will have, now we are fetching 15-minute data. So the second last candle will be 9:45 and the last candle will be 10. Now the next time when you run the code, it will be on 10:01. Now at 10:01, we'll have another candle which will be 10:15. Now this candle data will not be complete. Okay, so here I will have some data, like I'll have open, high, low, close data, but this close price is not complete yet. So this close price and open, high and close will keep on changing. Open will remain the same, but high, low, close will keep on changing when you run it for every minute. So when you will run the same function at around 10:02, you will see that open price remains the same, but high, low, close can change. Majorly high, close will definitely change. High and low will change if the high and low changes, otherwise it remains the same. Okay. Now, if you remember when I explained you the strategy, I told you that we have not taken the trade at this point. Now, why did this not happen? Because our strategy only looks at the closing price after every minute. So if something happens within that minute, then our strategy will ignore it, right? So that is the reason why, if some, like let's say within 1 minute, if it goes up and again it comes down, so our strategy will not do anything. If it goes in one direction for an entire minute, only then our strategy will take some decision. Now this is totally uh, your call how you want to do it. Now if you don't want to run your strategy every 1 minute, that is, you don't want to check the closing price every 1 minute, you can run the strategy after every 15 minutes. So if you do that, if anything happens within that 15 minute, your strategy will not do anything. It will wait till the candle has formed. After 15 minutes, only it will take some decision. Okay. So this is one minor thing that you need to know about this fetch historical data function.